Welcome into the Junior and Senior Nothing But Sports podcast. Today, I'm just going to do a quick reaction to the news of Fresno State, Boise State, Colorado State, and San Diego State being added to the Pac-12 conference, along with Oregon State and Washington State still claiming their residence in the Pac-12. So by 2026, the 2026-2027 season, it will be the Mountain West having 6 teams as it stands currently, or as it will stand for now. It's a great move. I appreciate a conference that got decimated with only 2 teams left, with really seeming like they had nowhere to go, to stand and fight and say, you know what, we're not going to cave, we're not going to go to the Mountain West and try to just build that up. We want to build our own thing. And number one, we want to keep our rivalries intact. You want to keep the Civil War intact with Oregon and Oregon State, and you want to keep the Apple Cup with Washington and Washington State intact. So not only do you keep that intact, but you stand pat with your 2-team conference, and then you say, you know what, let's go grab 4 teams from the Mountain West, 2 of which are teams in Boise State and Fresno that people hold in high standards when it comes to the group of 5 lower level teams. So now I expect them to be held in a higher regard as far as trying to rebuild the Pac-12 and trying to get them into a Power 5 status. The only way that's going to happen, Boise State probably has to make the playoff this year. Fresno has to win a tough road game like a Northern Illinois did against Notre Dame. Those 2 things have to happen in the next couple of years. If they do that, this will be bolstered, and it will affect the things to come as far as this conference is concerned. So when I saw that this morning, I really was excited. I almost wanted to do an immediate reaction, but I just couldn't get the podcast correct. I couldn't get the sound and everything, quality and all that correct. So this is like my 5th time trying to do this, but I am hopeful that we continue to get stuff like this. We continue to get surprises, and we continue to have some of the old ways and the old models, just stay where they are, because I think the more conferences we have, the more variety we have, the more purpose that a lot of these players who won't be playing in pro football have, because, most of them just are going to do other things, and, they just want to have something athletic to do, or have something to do with their friends, or to, have fun and to be competitive. Most of the players in college football, or any college sport, that's what the deal is. They're going to go do other things. But it really is going to help the profile of these conferences, because the West has been held down for a very long time, and I think the dissolution of the Pac-12 really didn't help. So I like this move. I just wish that I understand, Oregon and others, they wanted to do bigger things. It's all about the money at the end of the day. I understand that. But, I just wish they would have stayed and at least tried to add the teams that they're adding now, or, try to reach out to somebody else. But I'm looking at, I would have thought they would have had Air Force. They would have tried to get Air Force. Maybe they still will. It's just early. Those 4 teams applied, and it looks like they're going to get confirmed, and all the due process will get taken care of. But Air Force has been a really good team, good solid team for the last half decade. So I don't see why not. You get that military academy fan base, and you get an overall respect for a team that just goes out there and puts it all on the line. So I would hope that they could likely get Air Force over there. I know most people probably wouldn't get this, but UNLV, they have been, the last 2 years, from last year and starting this year, they look like a completely different program. Their offense is what Oregon's offense has looked like for the last decade. They are putting up points. Their defense is still in question, and it has been since last year, which is why they probably didn't beat Boise State in that Mountain West championship game. But their home games are played in the Raiders Stadium and Legion Stadium. obviously their fan base is small because of where they're at. They're in Vegas, but it's not that big of a fan base. It's still a growing city, one of the fastest growing cities in America, actually. But it's still relatively a small fan base. But if UNLV continues at this rate, because there are some people that are projecting them to be in the playoffs at this rate. Because you might be looking at a UNLV Boise State Mountain West Championship game at this point. I thought it'd be Colorado State, but UNLV, they've averaged 55, 60 points their first two games. And they're going to have tougher tests like the one they're going to have this week, but I've just been astonished by the growth of the Rebels, and I've been waiting for them to be good for a very long time, and I am excited, and not just for me, but for the city of Las Vegas to have a college football team that's doing well, and hey, they get a shot. Like I said, you would not pick them to beat a team like an Alabama or an Oregon or whatever the case, but they look like they can put some points up regardless of who they're going to play. And that would be a really, really interesting combination. We know about Boise State, but again, if this UNLV team can get over the hump of Boise State, I don't think they've beaten them if ever, I'd have to go check. But this would be a monumental move. But yeah, it's just two teams in the Mountain West that are still there that I would like to see them kind of, if they could get them, that would be great. And maybe they will. Like I said, this will start in the 2026-2027 season. So we're still 2 seasons away from that. And maybe, like I said, after this year and next season, once we were 2 years into the 12-team college football playoff, I expect it to be expanded to 16 teams probably by 2026 or maybe a couple years after. But it's going to expand to 16, where you probably have no bye weeks. And with that, you likely eliminate or get close to eliminating conference championship games. And I love conference championship games, but if we're going to be honest, they haven't been the Big Ten championship games haven't been good, mostly because, and neither of the ACC championship games, and that's mostly because of the divisions and everything. And now that the divisions are scrapped, you can say it's a little different. But I just don't believe that you can have an expanded playoff and still have conference championship weekend, and it makes sense. Strip away the divisions. You either add an extra game with those extra spots, or like I said, they can keep the conference championships if they want, but the conference championships will start to be drained just by the fact of you're likely going to see the same matchups double, possibly triple times. And listen, it will be exciting in some cases, but there's going to be a lot of cases where we don't want to see the same matchup 3 or 4 times. We just don't want to see it. And I don't think people are going to want to see that either, because I think it may be a case where it's a blowout situation or the same team won twice, and you get who the better team is at that point. So you keep the divisions away, you pile up all these teams, put them in a quadrant schedule. Maybe if you want to do, if you're the SEC, you have 16 teams, do quadrants of 4. Just do it like the NFC and the AFC. If you want to make it more like the NFL, you have to do it that way. The SEC North, SEC South, SEC East, SEC West, whatever the case. Put them in quadrants and do it like the NFL does it, to where you face, I'm not going to say face the same team twice, but you face all your quadrant teams, like the SEC North and South and the East and West. You face those teams and you face a couple on the other side, and then you get to the championship game. If they want to do that, I would, but the way it's going to be done now is going to make it to where, even in the SEC, for example, Georgia and Texas are, right now at least, clearly look like the 2 best teams in the SEC. So we could be getting and they're going to play this year in the regular season. So we could get that game possibly 3 times, which, like I said, after I see it twice, I'm excited to see it twice, but I don't want to see it 3 times. Because at that point, it's just, you're kind of in a situation to where it gets redundant. We get it. We don't want to see that. College, that's the one thing about college and NFL that we have to try and keep separate. We don't want to see the same teams facing each other that many times. The NFL is different. There's nowhere near the amount of teams by like 4 times over, or maybe 3 times over. But we don't want to keep saying that. These are college kids. Let them face different environments. Let them face different teams, and put these guys in positions to be successful. And they have to sink or swim on their own. But that's not going to happen if you keep playing the same team over and over again. It's just not. So I'm warning people. I'm telling you, it's going to get to a point to where I think this is going to be a normalized situation, and I don't want it to be, where we're having the same matchups over and over again, and we're going to go right back to what was the discussion earlier about the playoff. The championship games were never good. Here and there they were, but overall they've been terrible, and the playoff as a whole has been awful. And that's the only thing about college football that has flunked is the playoff or the postseason. You know, and it's been bad. The numbers have been great as you expect, but they've just been bad games. And the NFL will always be dominant over college because it is professional. But what the fuck? But you know, it is. I think it's going to be a situation to where it'll get tiresome. So, you know, we'll see. But no, I am excited. I'm happy that they're doing this. Like I said, the other 2 teams I just named, with Air Force, UNLV, if they keep progressing, take a look at them. As far as another big name, I would throw in Notre Dame in that category. I understand, you know, that would not be at all geographical, but I think that it would be important to, like I said, you're either going to be a geographical conference or you're going to be a conference that just says we're going to be like most of the other conferences, the Big Ten and the ACC, and just say, you know what, screw it. We can go countrywide because most of the other conferences are doing it, and let's try to pursue a Notre Dame team. And that would be a big get for them. So we will see. We will see how it goes. A lot is going to happen in the next 2 years. You know, Florida State and Clemson, those teams want to get out of the ACC. Hey, there's a move to be made. If you want to put Florida State and Clemson, like I said, look at Notre Dame. You put those pieces over in the Mountain West with who they already have, and you have a pretty interesting conference. Geographically, I get it, but we've already broke that barrier. So, you know, there's no need to try to, you know, cry about that. We've already broken that. It is what it is at this point, so you might as well just do it. But those 3 teams I just named would make this conference on top of what they already have for 2026. Because in Florida State and Clemson's eyes, they're bigger than the conference of the ACC, which is fine, whatever. But the ACC says we're good. We have what we want. We have what we need. We're set. The Big Ten already has 18 teams. They don't need any more teams. The Big 12 is loaded. They don't need any more teams. The only other place you can go is the Mountain West at this point. Or not the Mountain West, but the Pac-12. Because it's the only other designated Power 5 conference left. And you can start new. Now, you're going to have to go west and play a couple games. But if you want to spread your wings and do something different, then go do that. And we'll see what happens. You know, beat up on some smaller schools for a little bit and build yourselves back up. You know? But, yeah, I think this is a great move. We will have more news and more things to come within the next couple of years. That's the great thing about college football is when they get news, boy, it really gets blasted all over the place. So I am looking forward to see what happens next with the Pac-12 because if we can get a Power 5 back and get those 5 bids, if they keep the conference championship games, you get 5 bids and an independent Notre Dame, you know, when they're good. And I just think that helps get – I think if they're going to keep the conference championship games and you want to keep the bids, while expanding it to 16, I don't think anybody should. I think the automatic qualifiers should just get home field advantage. If you want to be a 1 seed, you get to face the 16 seed. Guess what? You're at home. So, and one can consider that a bye week. Georgia had to play, Boise or Fresno or whatever. I mean, we expect them to win that game in the college football playoff, but it's a home game. So that brings the campus revenue, that brings the network's revenue, and the sponsors' revenue, because you can also sponsor the game if you want to. So there's a lot of things they can do. All of those avenues are going to make them money. So again, I've never understood that everything they can do is going to have money involved in it. So it's just about how they want to go about it. But I'm excited that that's happened. So we'll see what continues to go on for the next couple of years. But that's all for now. I will be doing my college football picks at some point, and I will do the NFL picks probably today, either today or tomorrow. So just keep in tune with what we've got going on here, and we'll talk to you guys later.